Well, good Wednesday morning to you. Chris Hare here, the world champion crypto cowboy, and thanks for sitting down, having a cup of coffee with me this morning. We're going to get into SUI, figure out what in the world's going on. We've had a pretty big pullback here recently. Outside of the flash crash, we've just kind of consolidated until this pullback. So what in the world's going on? Where do we go from here? How do we get there? Well, we're going to start out on a 4-hour chart. We're going to go all the way out to the weekly. I'm going to give you some longer term targets as well. But without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started here. Start off with the crypto fear and greed index. That's a liquidation heat map. We'll fix that real quick. We'll come back to it. Crypto fear and greed index currently at a 26, was at a 41. So we've came down. We use this chart to measure market sentiment. It tells us if people are scared, if they're greedy, what's going on. And right now we're in fear, about to drop into extreme fear. I think we were at a 20 a few days ago. But I use this to make small spot purchases. I purchase every time we go into fear. And when we go into extreme fear, I purchase a little more. And to show you what I'm talking about, I went ahead and loaded a BitUnex exchange for tonight, or this morning, sorry. Bought $60 of Ethereum and Solana. You can see Ethereum sitting at about 4% in the hole right now. Solana's up about a 0.25%. So we'll watch this and keep an eye on it, figure out what happens. Maybe there's something we can earn out of that. But if you need an exchange to trade on, go ahead and check out the links in my description. You'll find a link to BitUnex there. It'll get you a deposit bonus on your first time deposit, along with some better fees on your trading. So go ahead and check that out if you need an exchange to trade on. Moving on to the the CMC altcoin index, currently at a 26. So we've came back just a little bit. I think the other day we were at a 28 or 29. Pulling back into Bitcoin season with the dump. Not real surprise. What we need for this to do is get over into the lighter blues and darker blues. Not sure that's happening just yet, but maybe we're getting there. Moving on to a liquidation heat map, finally into the meat and potatoes of what in the world is going on. This is what market makers use to track liquidity. They move the charts by eating up your liquidation points on your short and long trades. They don't care about moving averages. They don't care about smart money concepts. They care about chasing liquidity up and down this chart. You can see the broader pockets or the yellow pockets are where the heaviest pockets of liquidity are. Everything to the top side of price action is a short trade. Everything to the bottom side of price action is a long trade. You can see there's a lot sitting right around here, around 205, 210 where we were. But cumulatively, $12.25 million worth of short trades. $11.83 million worth of long trades. So there's a few more shorts than there are longs. They'll probably come up, grab these pockets of liquidity, and then I think they're going to want to come down and try to grab this other stuff as well. But we're going to go ahead and get into the charts, figure out exactly what's going on, starting off with the 4-hour chart on SUI. You can tell we've been in a constant down pull since the flash crash a month ago Friday. So it's been pretty ugly for SUI, not really finding a lot of traction. Maybe we're getting close. I've got a lower trend line here that we'll see in the other charts. That may serve as a bounce point for us. You can tell we've lost the 50 moving averages. The yellow is the simple, the white is the smoothed. I use the smooth because the charts really like to respect it. You can see they usually hard reject and then they make a move down. Simple moving average is self-explanatory, but they take 50 of these candles, put a fluid line on the chart, work as excellent support and resistance. You can tell we've lost that 50 smooth, or we've rejected the 50 smooth moving average, and we've lost we've lost the 50 simple moving average. I think we're coming up back for a retest. What I think is probably going to happen here is we're going to work on down, probably down to around $1.81 to $1.25. If we can get above these 50 moving averages, our next stop is that golden zone sitting right up here at 266 to 323. 200 moving average sits right in that pocket as well. That takes 200 of these candles, puts this fluid line on the chart. Also works as very good support and resistance. If we can get in this, get above it, next stop's 489 to 607 on the 4-hour. So there's a pretty good run left for SUI if we can get over it. And I've told you guys this in the past. Market makers like to fill out about 50 to 70% of these wicks. So it wouldn't surprise me at all for them to come down here, retest, $1.25 to $1.35, fill out just a little more of this wick before heading north. If we go ahead and head down, it's going to be ugly. But we'll move out to a daily chart, kind of give you a better idea of what's going on. SUI's really just gone sideways since around the first of the year. After the big Trump pump, it just hasn't had a lot or made a lot of movement. But what you can see is I've got a trend line here, and it's getting bigger as we go further out. Hopefully we bounce off of this, but I think we end up somewhere 138 to 203 on the daily retracement zone. Somewhere in there, I feel like that's probably where you get your bounce. Then our next target stops are going to have to be around 286 to get over these 50 moving averages, get over the 200 moving averages. One thing about when you get these death crosses, especially on the daily, a lot of times this will signify a local bottom. So maybe we get some upside here. Maybe we are looking for some relief here pretty soon to work our way on up. If we can, 302 to 369 would be your first stops. Next stop's 562 to $7 with an opportunity to go to 11. Moving out to the weekly, we'll really get a big macro picture on what's going on. There's not a lot of information, but there's enough that we can get an idea. You can see we're pulling down. We have pulled down since July, actually July 21st. And then again over here in December, that was after the Trump pump. We've had the big crash, but we kind of came up. Didn't really find anything here, and now we've been moving down ever since. Weekly retracement zone sits between 203 and 138. I left that 4-hour golden retracement zone on here just so we could get a general idea of where it is. This trend line is fluid. The wick down here really throws me off, but you could argue, this trend line could go in a lot of different places, so I've just got it here as a placeholder. I'm not real confident on what I have just yet. But if we can bounce right here, get up above these 50 weekly moving averages, next stops on the weekly are 335 to 442, 682 to 852, 1345 would be your topping point. So we'll see what happens here. I feel like some of these coins that took that really hard hit, had a really big wick, haven't really recovered, and maybe the runs are over, but I don't want to say that just yet. But we'll keep up with SUI. We'll figure out exactly where it's going to go. It looks kind of dismal for now, but I still feel like there's an opportunity for some upside coming up here pretty quick. So we'll circle back around to SUI here in the next few days once we figure out and find out where our support or our resistances are. Then I'll circle back around and do another full video. We'll figure it out, and I'll give you some more price targets from there. But I'm going to wrap this up for tonight. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. Leave us a comment. It helps the YouTube algorithm. And I really enjoy reading what you guys have to say. So I'm going to close it out for this morning. My name's Chris Hare, the World Champion Crypto Cowboy. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you down the road.